You know, when I'm listening to you, Chris, all I caught was one thing. I've heard everything.
All that? You only caught one thing?
Trust me, it's just one thing. No, I'm telling. And by the way, you have to understand, it's only one thing I caught about this whole thing. What you want, you're not going to get. You said something. You said, in this world, if you apologize, they will never let it go, and they'll always come back. Look at Trump. He never apologizes. So what that makes me think about, you either are following Trump's lead, then you agree with what Trump does is right, so you want to be like Trump, to say, I want to, and I'm just, you know, I'm telling you this as a brother, you're like, hey, that's what Trump said. Or on the other side, you're like, man, you know, say if I go the other side and I say I messed up, then these guys are going to come after me for the rest of my life. If you go back and look at data on what happened with Joe when all the Planet of the Apes stuff that they came out, I don't know if you remember that when it came out with Spotify, you know, Daniel Ek defended him. He came out and he made a video. I don't know where the video was by his cold. It was somewhere outside. He's just making a video and talking openly. And it's like, you know, we shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done this. You know what the world said? You know what? Freaking A, good for this guy for apologizing. Are you kidding me?
You're talking about the stuff in his comedy act?
Yeah.
And the racist stuff.
Well, I mean, all the stuff that they put together saying, I listened to some of the stuff.
But that's what they made him apologize for.
Well, it's not about that's what they made him apologize for.
No one made him. He apologized for it.
But the point
You don't think that the money he was getting from that company came with them having leverage over what he apologized for and what he didn't?
I happen to know about this, and he's a good friend of mine. Joe Rogan is the boss of bosses. He could have done whatever he wanted to. And he apologized because he felt bad about it. Yeah, that's the truth.
So then if what you say, what you just said right now, you're saying the bosses made him do that, then the argument goes with you to say the bosses made you defend the vaccine and go up against the ivermectin because the bosses paying you made you do that and you didn't do that. Is that correct?
No. The bosses never made me. I wish I could give you guys the defense. If CNN made me do it,
right
like Tucker says about the war.
But it's not right on the CNN side.
There's no parallel.
No, by the way, can I just say, what Tucker says about supporting the Iraq war is, I was wrong and I'm so sorry for doing that. Yeah. That's what he said.
I know, but no, that's not what he says. He says Fox confused me and duped me into believing.
I literally just had a conversation with the man face to face a couple weeks ago about this.
And I'm literally,
he said, "I'm so ashamed of it." And
I know
I'm so
he definitely says that. He definitely says it.
So it's not. And by the way, he was the #1 guy in cable news till he left, and now he's one of the #1 guys on the internet.
I totally get it.
You can apologize.
It's not about not apologizing. I apologize all the time. What I'm saying is the reason you're asking for it here is just as a simple gotcha. Trump is right. That if you apologize in this dynamic, that's all they want.
Let me just ask this and save everybody time so we can go to the next 4 topics. Is there anything you regret when you did during that time?
Yes. So here's what I would have done different. One, I would have never been on TV, even though it's the thing I get thanked for most in 25 years of doing this. I would not have been on TV when I was sick. It extended the illness. I think it may have been why I wound up having these extended symptoms, because I didn't let myself beat the fever. I should have done that, okay? 2, I wish that I knew then what I know now about watching what was happening in the country with the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th iterations of the virus, because things changed. Now, I'll give myself a little bit of a defense in that I wasn't on TV for a year of this, but I was there when it started to change. We saw breakthrough infections, and what that meant was there was an opportunity for me to say, wait a minute, I thought there wasn't supposed to be any infections. And there was a messaging mistake that I didn't know better than to say, but now I do. What Rachel Maddow has that gotcha clip on her all the time where she says, you get this and you don't get COVID, you'll never get COVID. That was never true, but that is what we were told. And even the scientists who were working in Operation Warp Speed had confusion about this. The vaccine always worked the same way, which was you don't get enough of viral buildup to get very sick or die. And they assumed, and it was this way in the beginning, that because you don't get a lot of virus, unless you're a super spreader, you won't be as contagious for other people. But that changed. And I wish that during that change, I had seen it for what it was and said, wait a minute, you got to change the mandates, you got to change how you see the booster, and you got to change how you message this. Because there was a lot of drama and pain that happened in those later iterations and a lot of loss.
Chris, anything to apologize for. Apologize. Anything to apologize for.
So Chris,
hang on, Chris, let me just say, open-ended, anything to apologize for. Anything.
I did not do anything on purpose that I thought was wrong.
So whether it was or not, whether it was or not, listen, sometimes in life, you're married, I'm married, I've been married 14 years.
I apologize all the time.
That's the point. But sometimes we do stuff, whether it's intentional or not, sometimes we do things, and then we say, listen.
That's because I want the other person to be okay.
And there's millions of people that listen to you.
I know, but here's the problem. You're the minority. There are a lot more people who, if I were to say, which I do not believe, okay, that I should have never said that people should take this vaccine early on. I should have never said that. I should have never said that when people change their position, you said there was no change until everybody loved the vaccine with Biden. No. Early on with Operation Warp Speed, I lived it. I watched the process. Everyone was celebrating that Trump got this done. All the Republicans were celebrating it. That's why Kamala Harris said what she said. She was playing stupid, petty politics and saying, I won't take any vaccine that's Donald Trump. That was stupid for her to say it. Then it switched. And the same people, the clip you have with me and Byron Donalds, who I respect as a lawmaker, I love having him on the show. I like to hear his name in the conversation about being VP. He went from, vaccine is great, amazing that Trump did this, I got it, my wife got it, this is awesome, to all of a sudden, I don't know about this vaccine. All that changed was that Biden came in. That's what I was attacking so vehemently. I make no apologies for that. If you're this hung up on the ivermectin thing, here's my problem with it. I don't like that Joe Rogan got beat up for taking it. I don't think anybody was in the right to say ivermectin was something you should be taking instead of the vaccine, or if you have it. We don't know that that's true. Even the maker of it says it. So, do I like that Joe Rogan got beaten up? No, I don't like it. And to the extent that
you beat him up. But you're saying it like someone else did it. It was you.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, okay?
I mean, you didn't beat him up. You don't want to fist fight Joe Rogan.
Here's the thing. Listen. I like what Joe Rogan does. I respect his success. I'm certainly not afraid of him, okay? What I'm saying is...
That's a good...
Here's what I'm saying.
That's a good way to get a spin kick in the chest talking like that.
Well, that's his choice. My choice is to say this. I don't like that he was demonized. But for me to say, hey, you know what? Nobody should have come after him for putting it out there that ivermectin was what he was taking and that's what you should do, because the research doesn't support it. So it's not right for me to say that.
Listen,
the research that supports the shot is a two-part answer. That emergency use authorization, they need to go back and review why it got it. And they're never going to do it right now, to a bit of what Pat was saying. Right now, here's what you have. Blame versus silence. You guys are the blame side. I want apologies. I want a recking.
No,
I want
honestly,
this. I want that.
I don't take it that
way. Listen, but this is why they won't talk about it. I'm telling you why they won't talk about it.
Hear me out. Hear me out. I'm telling you, my dad told me something one time. He says, listen, be very careful when everybody says good things about you, because one thing in America is they'll turn you into hero overnight and they'll turn you into zero overnight.
Yes.
Then he said the following. He said, but this is the great thing about America. What America loves more than anything else is a redemption story. They want to see you make a comeback. They want to see you go from here you are, fall, they kick your ass, then you're like, I effed up. You know what? This is America. Most of us are Christians. Come back. We believe in forgiveness. And then you can make some kind of a comeback that may take a few months and a couple of years. But then they're like, okay, what? We all make mistakes.
Pat,
that's the opportunity.
I don't see that opportunity. Here's what I see.
I understand you don't. But
I got to tell you, here's why. Because you believe that the way you see it is the only way to see it. And that's not the way it is.
No, but
okay?
I disagree. No, I disagree. I disagree. And let me tell you why.
Tell me.
You said, out of everything we've been going for an hour and 25 minutes, out of everything that's been said for an hour and 25 minutes, you said, I'm so sorry.
Fauci's going down.
No, I am so sorry. You said out of an hour and 25 minutes, you said, I think Trump's right for not apologizing.
As a tactic.
And you're using his tactic.
The,
You're using his
I
tactic.
did not do anything
Chris,
that warrants an apology.
Okay, can we go over some more?
Well, no, guys, we're moving on. We're not staying on this thing. The only thing I'm saying is the following. You know when you're sitting here saying, you know, they can't say this and the ivermectin this and they didn't have the research and they didn't have the research. Dude, we have 9 months on COVID and everybody's talking about taking it and we're being forced to taking all this other stuff. We didn't have any research on this thing. Warp speed, the whole levels to be able to go, no, yeah, go ahead and take it, guys. If you don't, shame this is. So that's a mistake, bro. That's a mistake. And then at the same time, like if you screwed up, boom, let's move on and go to, at this point, I know it's not gonna happen. So I wanna give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors. Can you please have a guy named Tucker, who's our sponsor here? He's got a couple of words to say. Go ahead.
Since I was doing the same thing. I wasn't working on a construction site when I was 25. I was in the political media in Washington. And I stayed there from 1991 to 2020.
About?
So
you'll hear.
I look back at myself and I'm like, I can't believe, for example, I supported the war in Iraq. Why did I do that? Now, I think to my credit, I went to Iraq in 2003 and realized I'd been completely wrong. And I said so. I didn't continue to lie. But I did go along with things I was uncomfortable with. I didn't ask difficult enough questions. And I wound up supporting something that was really bad for the United States and evil, in my opinion. So why did I do that? Part of it was I was young and stupid. Part of it was, I think, if I'm being honest, this was not conscious, but it's still true. I felt vulnerable. You know, I had at the time 3 kids. I've got a mortgage. Like, do you really want to pick a fight with everybody when you're 31 and you're just trying to like pay tuition and keep your shit together? Maybe you don't. And I think it's an age thing to a certain extent. Like at a certain age, whatever it is, if you're in the same business, and you feel like you've sort of done what you set out to do, you're like, I don't really need to impress anybody at this point. I'm not, you know, in debt. Speaking for myself, I'm not rich. I will never be rich. I'm pretty sure of that. But I'm not in hock to anybody. I don't owe anybody anything. And my kids are grown. So it's like, you know, why would I ever lie? I'm just in a different place. And so you...
Okay. So, by the way, if you read into what he said, I played along because I didn't want to go up against everybody,
right?
Because I needed to make money, because I had to support my family, because I had to go. And this is a guy that his show flopped on MSNBC. They were not watching it. I think he was before Maddow, whatever the show, the timing was that they had to move on and come back and make a resurgence, and boom, goes and becomes number one, 3.3 million viewers on a nightly basis, does well for himself, makes his money, and now you know where he's at right now? You know what he's got? You know what he's got right now. Oh, let me tell you what he's got right now. He's got this thing. This the only thing in there that he kind of went like this a little bit too quickly. He's got this thing called FU money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think he's had it a long time.
And Joe has this thing also called the FU money. And it's funny that both of them had to kind of go through the process of that to have the FU money. And I think it's a great example for us to do that.